suffering, and dying from disproportionate health impacts on a planet that has less than 10 years to prevent irreversible damage. Heat illnesses, respiratory illnesses, water-related illnesses, food system impacts, insect-related diseases, black maternal health, and mental health effects. As the impacts of climate change mount, millions of vulnerable people, our people, are going to bear the brunt of these extreme environmental events, which will likely lead to forced displacement, loss of cultural identity, and other related risks. These realities are as real as rain. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details about the most progressive multimedia and live events campaign any black media outlet has ever undertaken to combat the climate catastrophe. Experts, events, empowerment. It's all on the way from unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We don't black down. We level up.
Level up, 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 level up.
KBLA Talk 1580. Yeah, by a black man. That's right. We don't black down. This is KBLA. And I got a studio full of guests. What a great morning it is around here. Joining me in studio, a lot of knowledge in one place. First, I'll introduce a native of Compton, California. He's been a teacher at Dorsey High since 1997. When he was 2, he started teaching there. He attended Pitzer College in Claremont and Loyola Law School in L.A. Got a bachelor's in psychology, 2 doctorates. He's an AP advocate, program fellow, and a lot more. Like, I can read this bio all day. But I think what's key to the conversation is that his African American Studies class has been featured in the LA Times, the LA Sentinel, and the CBS Morning Show with Gayle King. Donald Singleton, welcome.
Good morning. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for coming in. We do have a lot to talk about. Also coming back on the scene, trailblazer of diverse and general consumer marketing programs, PR strategies. She's built bridges to ethnic and cultural understanding between corporate America and various communities. She's a nationally renowned community leader and an independent speaker and management consultant for nonprofit and corporate organizations. She's a gifted performing vocalist. These folks got titles. And she recently added to her portfolio the title of leader of the famous Our Authors Study Group, Lura Daniels Ball. Good morning.
Good morning.
I forgot the Lura's Kitchen. You got titles. She has a business now, which I have to mention because it's Wealth Building Wednesday. Welcome.
Thank you for having us back here.
You know, I think we talked about this last time you were here, Miss Daniels Ball, is that people think of our authors as like, Oprah's book club. It's not really that. It's about history.
Yes.
And Black history right now seems to be a controversial topic, more controversial than ever.
Yes, and we are moving from enjoying spotlighting our history to advocating for our history as a healing point for diversity. And, Dr. King really was looking for healing the soul of America. And that's really what I'm moving our organization into promoting, because we believe that once people understand that Black history is American history, America will heal. America's not whole until they understand Black history.
That and reparations, I think, would do it.
Yes, and reparations. that's part of it.
Right, because reparations means repair, which is healing, right?
Yes, and everyone's been repaired but us.
Well, I don't know about that. Some folks got work to do. But I don't think, controversy is my job. I don't think white America gets repaired until we get reparations.
Well, that's part of it, because although we talk about slavery, that's part of it, but they don't understand the excellence part. See, we move from slavery into the excellence, and that's why we want to spotlight and uncover the hidden gems that people don't know, because we don't know all of the things that we've done. And so our young people think that the only story is slavery. So once white guilt is assuaged, so they understand our excellence, then they'll get healed too and understand that there's not a threat. They have been part of our narrative in bad and good ways in some cases. So if they'll be bold enough to explore the entire history, they'll understand, and they'll be part of the healing, and America gets healed. And that's our vision. That is really the bold vision that we have. And we believe at our Author Study Club that Black history and the knowledge of it in its entirety is the pathway to healing America.
Dr. Donald Singleton, you've been teaching at Dorsey since 1997. People that are not from LA, we've got a lot of people that are part of our delegation from all over the world don't know. Dorsey is an iconic high school in the heart of South LA. Actually famous for football, apparently, and apparently Black studies. But I bet you when you started in 97, you never imagined that cannabis would be legal and you'd be you'd be about to be known as a Black history dealer. That Black history would be illegal.
That's funny. What happens at Dorsey, which is an amazing, amazing place, and you're talking about football, they have the South LA Classic on Friday, Dorsey versus King Drew at the Coliseum, and the halftime performances are Warren G and Exhibit. So call Dorsey High and get your tickets for that. That'll be amazing. But what happens at Dorsey, actually, I have been doing Black history since '98 when I took young people to the South on the Sojourn to the Past trip. We met John Lewis and Minnie Jean Brown Trickey at Little Rock 9, and we've been studying that for quite a while. And so Black history has been something I have been studying and been a part of for many, many years.
Yeah, but it does seem like now you're actually slinging illegal content.
It's funny. It's not illegal everywhere.
Right.
And what happens is, for example, in
not
Florida,
everywhere.
in Florida, where it seems to be illegal all over Florida. I have white Republican friends in Florida because I work for the College Board and I meet with my friends in Utah every year. And I have some conservative friends who think that what's going on in Florida is crazy. When DeSantis first started that nonsense, I told people he was trying to out-Trump Trump, trying to be more racist than Trump because he's trying to curry favor from the Trump supporters. He's trying to say I'm even crazier than Donald Trump is. And so when I talked to my white friends in Florida, I had dinner with them a couple months ago, they were saying, don't think that everybody in Florida believes that nonsense because humanity is humanity. There are people there who realize you can't be human unless we all come together. There's no way to have a whole race, a whole group of people, if you're dividing it by something as superficial as phenotype, as superficial as race classifications. And so what happens in Florida and in Texas, I have friends, one of my friends in Texas, Mark, is a white, southern, right of center, white boy, as he calls himself. And he says, you know, we cannot focus on this hatred. We cannot live in that place. What happens? Look what's happening all over the world when you're living in a place of hatred.
Yeah, and also when we're living ahistorically. I mean, part of what makes, what's happening all over the world, as you refer to it, such a problem is that people don't know the history. They only know what's happening right now. They only know that Instagram post, maybe going back 6 months. And that's part of the problem. I hear you mm-hmm-ing, Lura Daniels-Ball. What do you want to add to that? I mean, I imagine that's part of what, the mission of our authors is as well.
Well, I'm co-signing on what you're saying. They only know the most recent tweet, which is why the historical part. I was really struck on the interview, the CBS interview, when one of the young people said, well, I didn't want to deal with my history because all I heard about was slavery. They didn't hear about anything else because the only narrative that they would hear was slavery.
And they're not the only ones. I mean,
Yeah.
what was it? Was it Steve King, the representative out of New York, that said black people, or what have black people or any dark-skinned people contributed to world history, and really didn't know?
Because it's not taught, and some of it is purposely not taught. In AP African American Studies, history begins where it should be, in Africa. Africa is the birthplace of humanity. Africa is the mother of mankind. It all starts in Africa, and when you learn that the Africans were traders, they traded with the Arabs, the Persians, the Chinese. People think it started in slavery. Before the transatlantic slave trade, Africans were traders. In fact, in the 1500s, Juan Garrido was in Mexico City writing a letter to the government saying, look, I've been to Puerto Rico, I've been to Cuba, and I want to get paid. And so you get this misunderstanding that Africans only came here and became slaves. But prior to that, Queen Njinga was a military leader. Queen Idaya was a military leader. These are the people who started the history. And what happens is, if you don't realize how great you are, think about the great Zimbabwe, which is the stone architecture in Zimbabwe. Look up all the talents and skills that have to come into place. If you understand how great Africans are, you stop seeing them as slaves. And that's the whole duty of the course, to talk about the beauty and the brilliance of Africa, the resilience of Africans. Because kids come in, all they hear about is slavery. Well, why is that? Because if you show somebody that's all you think they're going to be, that's all they're going to be. But if you show them who they were, they'll spend their lifetime trying to get back to that.
I mean, honestly, I've had several moments like that as a mom, but there was one particular school where I had to go in and say, look, every year in Black History Month, you got the kids reading a story about slaves. But I came in with a stack of books. Here's some alternatives, because we're not about to read about the boy who mailed himself in the box again.
No.
Yeah.
We're not about to tell that story again. How can we start with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and learn about inventors or something else? But what you said, they spend their lives trying to get back to it. Well, we'll talk about this when we come forward. How do you see this impacting the young people that you're working with when you share this knowledge with them? When it really starts to sink in, how does it shift their perspective, their lifestyles, their choices? We'll talk about that when we come forward. Lura Daniels-Ball and Dr. Donald Singleton are my guests, and you're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
We're celebrating 1 year of the K. From checking out the vibrant art and diverse dining in Leimert Park to cheering on your favorite team in Inglewood, you can choose your own adventure when you ride the Metro K-Line. Leave the car at home and go Metro. Visit metro.net/K-Line.
Hey, son, how are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, loss of who you thought you was.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
At City National, we listen to you.
I want to expand my business and my legacy.
I want to set up the next generation for success.
I want to see my vision come to life.
I want to feel right at home. Your goals, passions, vision, future. We want to hear it and work alongside you to achieve it. Visit cmb.com to learn more. City National Bank. Here for our clients and communities.
I was crossing the street when I met the love of my life. I chased after her. Nothing would stand in my way. Not the dog walker, nor the hot dog vendor. Finally reaching her, I asked, "What do you call that amazing smell?"
It's Gain Flings.
Gain Flings. My love had a name, but more importantly, it had a scent.
Fall in love with Gain Flings. Seriously good scent. Gain Flings with 50% more freshness ingredients versus leading bargain detergent.
On your period, sudden gushes happen without warning. But now, you can say goodbye to stand-up gush fears, thanks to Always Ultra Thins with rapid dry technology. It absorbs gushes 2 times faster than the leading store brand and gives you up to 100% leak-free protection. Hello, clean and comfortable with Always Fear No Gush.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes, I do appreciate you, and I'm sure my guests do as well. Dr. Donald Singleton, an AP African American Studies pioneer and California educator, and Our Authors Study Club president and entrepreneur. Lura Daniels Ball is with us as well. Don't forget about the cookie mix. You can make yourself seem like you know how to cook. You get some that Laura, and that's always good for the holidays to front like you're some amazing
anytime.
cook.
Yeah, but yes.
Yeah. So thank you guys for coming in. And I had asked you before, news, traffic, and sports. Dr. Singleton, what is the impact that you see when this information starts to sink in?
The excitement in the young people when they realize how great their ancestors were. And then the disbelief that they never learned it in any other classes. No one ever talked about it. There's no focus on Africa. And so I love the fact that we start with Africa. It's the most wonderful thing because there are things that the world needs to know about Africans. I talk to people, some of my evangelist Christians who were involved in slavery and lynching blacks and hating black people. I said, did you know that an African carried Jesus' cross? The Bible says Simon of Cyrene carried Jesus' cross. Well, Cyrene is North Africa. That's Libya. And so how can you hate blacks when an African carried his cross?
We'll do it. You'll have to come back and we'll do that show because for some reason, like I feel like it can be, it's a whole can of worms. But the Bible is a religious book. It's not a historical document, just like the Quran is a religious book, just like, all religious texts. And we sometimes try conflate that with a historical text. But your point is taken. I mean, it's like when we watch science fiction and there's no black people in the future. And that's the way our history is taught. There's no black people in the past. I think we're making progress in some ways, and that, I believe, is why, one of the reasons, aside from the out-trumping Trump thing, why there's so much pushback. I'll give you an example. One of the same school where I had to go and holler about the box boy story every year, one of the young white teachers there was teaching Imhotep. I almost fell out of my chair because that's just, the father of medicine, the first doctor, a black man out of Egypt, and Egypt was not Arab at that time. It was Nubian African.
Right.
Do you see the progress, Laura Daniels Ball? Do you think that there is, at the same time we're seeing backlash, we're seeing motion?
There's progress because we're here talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
There's progress because I found Dr. Singleton through Black Press.
Mm.
Okay, so there is progress, but we have to be, I'm sorry, woke, and we have to support each other.
Yeah, I agree.
And we
unapologetically woke. At
we
that.
have to support our Black press because that's the only way we get our news. I would not have found Dr. Singleton if I didn't have a subscription and read that subscription with the Los Angeles Sentinel.
Right.
Nowhere else was I going to find that. And then I am appalled because I'm finding out that nobody else knows about this incredible educator right here in our midst. We have to take care of ourselves first. So yes, we are making progress, but it's not enough. We need our billionaire Black folks that have money to invest in us to make sure that our educators are the celebrities.
What does that investment look like? What do you mean? Buy books? Or are you talking about?
That investment means in physical properties of facilities. That investment means similar institutions like the Academy Awards. Why don't we have an academy for Black performing theater
some people
arts
would say Image Awards.
No, Image Awards. I was one of the first sponsors in California of an Image Awards under
Really?
Coors Brewing Company.
Okay.
Image Awards has gone through all these different iterations. We now give awards to everybody else but us. Why do we always have to do everything for everyone else to justify ourselves? That's a whole nother conversation.
That's a great conversation. It's part of every conversation. It's really part of every conversation because I am definitely for coalition, but coalition shouldn't mean that we have to disappear.
And Dr. Carter G. Woodson started.
The father of Black history.
The father of Black history started and created the opportunity for every other affinity group to have a day, a month, a week, an opportunity to be recognized. When they walk through that door, we're holding the door open. We should not be left holding the door open, nor should we apologize because we want to celebrate ourselves. Because we respect and celebrate ourselves does not mean we disrespect anyone else.
Absolutely. In fact, I love that you brought up woke because to me, woke has become like, an analogy for Black.
Exactly.
And so the whole anti-woke movement to me is really anti-Blackness with another fancy name. And I am going to stay woke, no matter what talking points y'all come up with. Dr. Donald Singleton, there was a lot of controversy around the AP, African American Studies. The College Board of which you are a part claims that it did not kowtow to the pressure from conservatives, from Republicans, but yet the course was changed. And Black conservatives, who make up about 0.00001% of the population, are now a part of that curriculum, and Black Lives Matter is out.
Black Lives Matter and those other things are not out. What I said on CBS News, and going back to what wokeism is, Gayle King says she considers wokeism truthism because you're just telling the truth about people's history, and people think, wait a minute, what is that about? Let's go back to all these things you say are being kicked out. There is nothing that says I can't talk about Black Lives Matter, and I do. There's nothing that says I can't talk about reparations, and I do. The AP College Board says these are the things that are going to be tested on the exam, and so understand that the kids have to know these essential knowledges for the exam.
And apparently Black conservatism is essential knowledge. I mean, a lot of teachers teach to the test. Not great teachers, but I'm not mad at them if they do because they're going to be judged by the outcome of those tests.
You are judged by the outcome of the test.
Yeah, which is anti-educational, if you ask me, but nobody did. So, so doesn't that prioritize things that are not priorities, historically speaking?
You can't teach any course and teach anything you want because I've been teaching AP Gov for 20 years. They changed that test as well. They've changed other courses, and because
how did they change it?
In AP Gov, you didn't know which cases, landmark cases, to study for the exam.
Right.
Then they told you, okay, only study these cases. They're going to be on the exam. So then you had to kick out some of the things that we were teaching before that we weren't sure are going to be tested. And so, yeah, and if you teach in regular government or regular history, you can teach anything you want, and some people do. What happens is there has to be some type of structure, some type of format. And what happens with the AP exam, for all the AP exams,
advanced
if you do well,
placement for those who are not following the bouncing ball.
Thank you. it just, if you pass the exam, AP exam with a 3, 4, or 5, that means you can skip certain classes, introductory classes in college, because the advanced placement exam is equivalent to the introductory college course of that subject. And so that's how students get credit. So I had a young lady going to USC who got a 5 on the AP US government exam. She could skip all the intro political science courses at USC, saving thousands of dollars.
Right. But it's more than that. It's also whether or not you get into USC in the first place, many times determined by those advanced placement tests in classes, which is why, Community Coalition fought to get those in South LA schools. But again, if I'm saying, well, these are the landmark cases, and you're teaching to the test because you want your kids to be able to skip those introductory courses and be considered good scholars, quote unquote, it does skew history because it says these are the priorities and these are not.
Well,
something tells me Citizens United is not on that list.
No, Citizens United is in a discussion for kids to understand why Obama was criticized when he criticized Citizens United. All that's in context of the conversation in teaching, and that's the whole thing. You can teach about one thing all day if you want to. You can teach about one thing all year if you want to.
But your students will fail the AP test.
Because what are you going to align them with? And it has to be some type of guidelines.
I mean, I understand that. I'm just saying that, if the board is subject to political pressure, then that means politicians can skew our understanding of history because we have to do well in those classes to thrive in academic settings.
But what happened was people don't understand when Carvalho said that the College Board caved in to conservative criticism. That was not true. What happens is every week we were asked, what did you teach well? What did the kids understand? How well did you think you taught that? What do you think? Is that a good subject to teach? The teachers were asked to rate, to evaluate what was being taught. And that's how it was shaped. It wasn't shaped because conservatives hated it. In fact, some of the shaping happened long before the conservative criticisms became public. They may have hated it because they're going to hate it no matter what. And what I said was, you can't cave in, because if you were caving in, you wouldn't teach it at all. And I said, if you teach an AP German, AP French, AP Italian, AP European history, and in those classes you're not teaching white kids to hate black kids, how could you possibly be teaching black kids to hate white kids in AP African American Studies? It's simply history. History that's been kept away from us forever.
We will continue this fascinating conversation. How do we preserve and promote and understand our history after news, traffic, and sports on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. In California, 2 officers violated the Los Angeles Police Department's lethal force policy in their struggle with a black man who later died. The Los Angeles Board of Police Commissioners made that ruling Tuesday following the death of Keenan Anderson this past January. While restraining Anderson in Venice, one officer used a taser on him several times. He died at a hospital 4 hours later from what the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner ruled were the effects of an enlarged heart and cocaine use. Well, the World Series matchup is now set. The Arizona Diamondbacks are advancing to the World Series for the first time since 2001 after defeating the Philadelphia Phillies that score 4-2 Tuesday night in Game 7 of the National Champion League Series. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Make your next lunch a lunch combo from Buffalo Wild Wings. Choose from wings, street tacos, and more. Head to Buffalo Wild Wings or order online at buffalowildwings.com. At participating locations for a limited time, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Price and participation vary by location. Taxes extra. See menu for details.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Denver Nuggets picked up where they left off last season, beating the Lakers. The Nuggets win by 12 last night in the NBA regular season opener for both teams. Nuggets center Nikola Jokic had a triple-double, 29 points, 13 rebounds, and 11 assists. By the way, Jokic is one of a record 125 international players opening the season on NBA rosters. The previous high was 121 in 2017. Another indication of how foreign players are making their mark in the NBA. LeBron James had 21 points, a very troubling stat for the Lakers. Anthony Davis was scoreless in the second half after finishing the first half with 17 points. He took only 5 shots in the second half, just 1 in the fourth quarter. The Clippers, they're at home tonight against Portland. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attention small landlords who own 12 or fewer residential rental units. The City of LA Emergency Renters Assistance Program is back to help small landlords and is now accepting applications. Apply for up to 6 months of rental arrears for low-income residential tenants behind on rent. Applications will be accepted until October 31st, 2023 at 6 p.m. Go online 24/7 at housing.lacity.org or call 888-379-3150 to see if you qualify and apply today. City of LA Small Landlords. This program is for you.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles is a nonprofit law firm that protects and advances the rights of the most underserved, leveling the playing field and ensuring that everyone can have access to the justice system. Every year, LAFLA provides free, high-quality legal services to more than 100,000 people living in poverty across greater Los Angeles. Their unique combination of neighborhood offices, self-help centers at courthouses, and domestic violence clinics puts Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles on the front lines in vulnerable communities and at the forefront of change. LAFLA's expert team of attorneys, paralegals, and support staff works to provide direct representation, offer counsel and advice, provide referrals, and educate the community about their legal rights through workshops and seminars. With locations all over LA, you can access their services or volunteer to help no matter where you live. And if you have an urgent issue, call 213-235-0060. That's 213-235-0060. To get legal help, make a donation, or volunteer, visit lafla.org. lafla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
A sense of peace, a place to kick back and put down roots. A lasting legacy. However you define home, at City National, we're committed to helping you get there with our City National Ladder Up Home Loan Program. Find the full benefits at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National Bank, here for our clients and communities. Ladder Up program is available only in select areas. Terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS ID 536994.
Hi, I'm MC Light. You know me as the rapper. But guess what? I am the CEO of Sunny Girl Incorporated. We call it SGI. And SGI undoubtedly has a Cadillac, an Escalade to be exact. It's luxury at its finest. It's black, it's sleek, it's clean, and I can show up to any red carpet or any event and feel like I'm flossy. I love it. Cadillac.
Visit Cadillac.com for more.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth. Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
All right, I got about 10 shows in one in this studio today. Dr. Lura Daniels-Ball is here. She's an entrepreneur, a marketing executive, and the president of the Our Authors Study Club. And we have Dr. Donald Singleton, who is an educator and an AP pioneer. And I'm not even kidding, because we could do a whole show on AP. We could do a whole show on them cookies you make. Daniel's Ball. We could do a show on just Black history. And Our Authors Study Club and the City of LA Department of Cultural Affairs has got an open call for entries for the 2024 African American Heritage Guide. What is that?
We are so proud of this program, but I'm especially proud because when I was a corporate executive, I did the first calendar, and now it is a book. It is a tabletop style calendar with the art from African American artists and poets from throughout the Southland. absolutely beautiful and incredible. So this is our open call for all organizations throughout Southern California to send in their events that are happening from February 1st through March 31st, 2024, and for our artists to send in their works of art and their prose or poems to be included in this incredible guide that it will be distributed throughout Southern California. Now, the key thing is we've got a hard deadline of November 28th. Now, starting tomorrow, you can go to our website and download the forms that you can get to send in your submissions. Now, we don't want any organization to be left out because this is a way for everyone to be able to see and have your in-person events attended, whether it's online or in person. And the great thing is there's no age limit for your artwork. So encourage your young people that are artists or poets or spoken word even that they write down to submit. Okay, so that's very important. So they can, and you can get those forms at our Arthur Study Club, www.oascla.org.
I mean, but it's a calendar and a cultural guide.
Yes.
And we always, I and others, complain about the fact that there's no black master calendar, right? So for some reason, on February 7th one year, everybody has their event. And you can't be everywhere at once. And so the more folks put stuff in this heritage calendar, the more we would at least be able to better plan around it, right?
Right, and they can go to online and see what everybody's doing. And Arthur Study Club is looking into how can we do a master calendar? You know, because we have, Black culture in LA and we have Black in LA. All of them have calendars, but there is not one master calendar.
They don't all have the same stuff on
they
it.
don't
They don't
all have
overlap.
the same stuff.
I mean, you get and it's the same with the papers. You go over here, Sentinel has one thing, the Wave has something else,
so we're
Ebony Essence, everybody got something different.
So we're looking into that as well as trying to restart something that Libby Clark did years ago. If you I don't know if you remember Libby Clark, she was with the Sentinel, but she had something called the Plum Guide, the Plum Book, that had all of our Black organizations and our Black community leaders in one book, and we knew how to communicate with one another, which is becoming even more important now since our community is even more dispersed. And so we're looking at how can we facilitate that? How can we make that happen? So we're looking into that right now. How can we do a master calendar? How can we facilitate us talking to one another? And then Metro has just put together an online program where they're trying to collect organizations for the purpose of communicating. And I just signed up for them, and I don't have their exact information, but they are putting together a master calendar of organizations for the purpose of communicating with organizations, and it's a diverse, so it's everyone, not just African American, but it's everyone, Black, brown, white, LGBTQ, everyone.
That's a big old calendar.
So
Yes.
and it's a search database that you can look. But,
okay.
But the key thing is, when I looked on and I got approved, if you don't turn your profile on, then you really can't search them. So I was only able to look up 29 organizations in there, although they have over 300 that they've approved.
Wow.
So, but anyway, we are looking into that because we need it. We really do need that.
Meanwhile, you have till November 28th, hard stop. So just tell yourself November 21st to get into the Our Authors Study Club and LA Department of Cultural Affairs African American Heritage Guide 2024. You guys are an interesting combination because I feel like, our author's work, Laura Daniels Ball, is about getting grown folks, old folks, people that probably already should know, connected to our history. And you, Dr. Singleton, are starting at the early years when folks are in high school and trying to get that into the curriculum in AP, and I imagine in every other way you can. How does that? How do you guys work in tandem? How is that partnership?
Oh, no, we are desperately trying to bring our young people along. I am trying to create a succession plan. It is important that our young people know about us. And also, we want to spotlight those that are carrying that heavy water about Black history. And also our educators are very important to us. So he is prime and right in our target for us to support.
I mean, it's funny you say that, because I think it's amazing, wonderful, great work. But I hear us sitting around all the time saying, oh, we got to bring our young people along. I agree. But I think we got to bring our old people along, too. I can't believe how many grown, overgrown, extra grown, and all the way old people call here and don't know the ABCs of Black history.
Exactly.
So what do we do about that, Dr. Singleton?
We start with the churches. We start with the places people want to congregate, anywhere they want to congregate. If someone says,
the club.
Why do we have, right? I don't know if I can go to the club like that.
Free drinks for anyone who can tell me about Imhotep. I understand what you're saying, though. So
and I say that because I have friends in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, for example, Emmett Glenn, a friend of mine. He said that the older people, 50 and 60 years old, said they wanted to know about it. And so he started a class at the church where anybody could come, not members of the church, anybody from the community could come. The church just said this, you can come here. And they were asking questions and learning things. And he said that he found that they were just as excited as the young people about learning that. And so, yes, we can do that. All we have to do is find a forum and an interest, because I would love to teach that to people who are seasoned, to say, do you know why you coming from New Orleans are probably Catholic? Do you know why? Oh, no. I was Catholic. I was at
You're from
St.
New
Bridget's.
Orleans?
My mom was born in New Orleans. But there was a Louisiana code that said that the only religion you could teach was Catholicism. And that any other religion was forbidden. And so the masters were allowed to teach their subjects Catholicism, but that was it. And so many of them kept on with that. And so all over the place, you have these people from New Orleans, including my family, who were Catholic. And so, but that's in the slave code in Louisiana. It's not just willy-nilly. It didn't just come out of nowhere. It came from someplace. There's reasons why in the Stono Rebellion of 1740, they said they outlawed drumming. Why? Because in our culture, in our history, in our country, we communicated by drumming.
Right.
And so many times, we sent messages. So say a plane crash happened 200 miles away. By the time white folks had communicated teletype to each other, Black people already knew, Africans already knew, because they had drummed it. And so all of that is important. It's important to understand, as much as we love sports and rapping, and I love both of those, that education was the key. That in Africa, education was the key, and that we had universities. And so students need to know that your destiny, your DNA is academic. Yeah, of course, we play sports and we rap, and that's wonderful, but you're academic. And even in slavery, when slavery was over, blacks were riding in carriages reading books because they loved reading so much.
Is it a return to the rebellion, the role of rebellion of the church, the fact that churches across the country, Black churches right now, are stepping up to teach Black history because of the DeSantis phenomena?
Yes, definitely in Florida and in Arkansas and other places, they're saying, wait a minute, you're not going to erase our history. You're not going to do that. As crazy as you are, you're not going to be able to do that. And so we will step in and teach our young people and teach our seasoned people.
So maybe we should be thanking Ron DeSantis for returning the Black church to its rightful place as a primary source for the Black community. Continuing this conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominic DePrima when we come forward.
Do you have both Medi-Cal and Medicare? The new LA Care health plan called LA Care Medicare Plus, HMO DSNP, can help you get the most out of your health plan for $0 premium. LA Care is here to provide Angelenos with access to quality health care at an affordable cost. For $0 premium, you can get full benefits from vision coverage and in-home support services to prescription drug coverage, plus more. Call 855-688-1479. 855-688-1479.
A sense of peace, a place to kick back and put down roots, a lasting legacy. However you define home, at City National, we're committed to helping you get there with our City National Ladder Up Home Loan Program. Find the full benefits at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National Bank, here for our clients and communities. Ladder Up program is available only in select areas. Terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS ID 536994.
The Green Foundation, key health influencer, empowering our Black communities through action. The Green Foundation advocates for affordable health care, accessibility, and knows the importance of culturally relatable health care. Regardless of income, we believe it is a right for optimum health. The Green Foundation has been at the forefront for 25 years, dedicated solely to promoting prevention through early detection, annual screenings, and nutrition. We know you because we are you. Our hand-holding approach supports you and your family to receive your right to be treated fairly and receiving quality healthcare services. We want you and your family to know COVID-19 was devastating to our families and to our wallet. We can build back better by understanding prevention, wearing your mask, washing your hands, social distancing, and understanding the impact of long COVID. Get the care you deserve. Take advantage of your privileges. Contact us, info@thegreenfoundation.net. info@thegreenfoundation.net.
Discover, this is Danny.
Hi, it's Jen Coolidge. I just want to thank you for making me feel so special. I earned cash back on debit for my dinner party groceries.
That's great. But with Discover Cashback Debit, we give everyone cash back on everyday purchases. Anything else I can help you with?
Are you hungry? 'Cause everyone left after the asparagus sorbet.
Introducing Discover Cashback Debit, a checking account with cash back. It pays to Discover. Eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashbackdebit. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for progressive talk radio. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
A lively panel today. Lura Daniels-Ball, president of our Authors Study Club, Dr. Donald Singleton. Before we run out of time, because it just seems to happen in radio, tell us how to follow you, Dr. Singleton.
Professor Singleton1 at gmail.com.
Okay, that's your email. But are you on any of the socials?
I am. I'm on Instagram. How do you follow me? I don't know.
Okay, well, I'll figure it out.
I'm on LinkedIn. A lot of people have contacted me on LinkedIn.
There, but he doesn't know how to follow. Okay, I'm not mad at that. Get some of your students to show you.
Oh, man, immediately.
Lura Daniels-Ball, how do we follow you?
Okay, so you can get us on Facebook at Our Authors Study Club. And our new Director of Communications, Aisha Randall, is setting up our Instagram. So the best way to reach us is our Author Study Club on Facebook, and then also by email at vassie@oascla.org. And of course, check us out on our website at www.oascla.org.
How do you spell Vassie?
VASSIE.
See, I spelled it wrong. Okay, so I was calling out to us to not just educate the young, but also the elders. You say you guys are already on that. So explain some of the programs that you have and how folks can access.
Okay, so we think that we're doing really well with our older group, with our with our annual bus tours that we actually will be starting again live this year. Because of COVID, we were not able to do them, but February 3rd we will be having our bus tours, and we are looking to expand that to on-demand Black History bus tours. So stay tuned for that. We also have our speakers series where we bring in Black History speakers on various topics that may be authors, it may be academicians, and then we're launching the Sankofa Speakers Bureau that the community will be able to reach out and get speakers on a various number of topics. Then we, of course, have all of our Black History programs that will be happening during our citywide celebrations, and we have our research program. So there's a number of different things that we are doing that reach out to our older group. And then we are targeting, for those of you that are in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, we're looking for you because we want to put together our succession plan, and we're looking for leaders that are interested in amplifying and igniting the story and the history of Black history. Join you with us so we can create leaders and work with those folks to put together a program that makes sense for your generation.
And back to the generation that you're dealing with day in, day out. We stereotype young people a lot. I try to get more of them. Maybe you'll supply me with some of your students to speak out, because I think we talk about young people not too much and not to them. How are you feeling about this generation?
We have some unbelievably brilliant young people. You've had some in the studio. I've heard you talking to some of them in the studio. So we have great young people. I'm very, very energized and enthusiastic about the young people that I see. This generation is thirsty. They want to know more and
thirsty for knowledge.
Thirsty
not
for
just
knowledge.
Thirsty in general.
thirsty for knowledge. Right.
Yeah. So when you hear people say, "Oh, we're going to hell in a handbasket," kids today, all they do is social media. They don't care about anything. How do you respond to that?
Often they look at events around the world more quickly than we did because of social media.
Yeah.
And so my students are talking about the Israelis and the Palestinians in class because of social media, because of the things that are happening, real time. They're finding out about things and sharing them. So it's not that they're devoid of understanding of the news, and they're very, very connected to them, especially in my classes. It's required, for example, that my students in my AP U.S. government class watch Meet the Press with Kristen Welker and come in and talk
awesome.
about it. Yes. And so they're quite connected to it, and they're excited about it. So, yes, we have some wonderful young people, not only at Crenshaw and Dorsey and Washington Prep, but all over the country. And so we need to acknowledge them, encourage them, and teach them.
Do you teach, this is for both of you. Do you guys teach media literacy? Because one thing about being connected on social media is, if you're interested in world news and what's going on globally, is there's a lot of mis and disinformation as well. And this is not just for kids, by the way.
Dr. Paul.
That's an excellent. Okay, so we're going to put that in. Aisha, if you're listening, I want you to program that in, because that's an excellent workshop. I hadn't thought about that, because I'm so literate in media and digital. I take it for granted that everybody is, and I've taught elders in how to use media and what have you. So I see all the competency that a lot of them have, but that is excellent idea. So Aisha, I hope you're listening. I'm writing it down. We're going to do a workshop on that. That's a great idea. Thank you.
Okay, because I just feel like it becomes more urgent with AI and deep fakes and, and
Yes.
disinformation. And I have people that listen to the show, our KBLA delegation, that will come into my Facebook or my IG and, "Oh, this video is terrible. We should da-da-da." And then I look at it and okay, but it's fake.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so getting the skills to discern, I think, is super important.
That's a great idea.
What do people do when they're part of our authors, if they want to join you?
If they want to join
Not
us,
as a leader, but just as a member.
But just as a member,
Yeah.
they can go online and complete their application. We're starting our actual membership campaign for 2024 in November 1. But they have the opportunity to join a committee and work in that committee, or they can just be, if they just want to come on and see what we're doing and attend the events, then they can do that till they get their feet wet. But they can, be part of our oratorical competition that's coming up for our young people. They could be part of the programming for the speakers committee. They could just attend the events. They can take advantage of all of the benefits that we have.
So basically, it's all kinds of things to make you smarter.
Right, to make you smarter. All types of things to make you smarter.
Oh, wait, we found your Instagram? Okay, what is it?
I have 2 Instagrams, but here's one of them, Single Dude 1030.
Single what?
Dude, D-U-D-E,
That's
1030.
what I thought you said, but I was just making sure I heard it. Okay, Single Dude 1030.
That's one of them, yes.
Clearly one of your students set that up.
You know that. You already know.
One other thing, that we do have a church program also that we do for older folks too. So I just want to
What
let
does
you know.
that mean, a church program? Y'all preach?
We go out. we go out and visit various churches and talk about ours, the study club, and all the opportunities and what have you. So, so I just want to make sure that we have that, because that's a very important program for us.
And you probably don't have to be a member to invite you guys to your church, right?
Oh no, not at all. We try to get to as many churches as we can, given that we are a totally volunteer organization with no staff or what have you. So we try to program that all in and what have you. But yes.
Amazing the work that you guys do on a volunteer basis. Okay, Dr. Singleton.
Yes.
Now I'm putting on my mom hat. You're a teacher. We're not in a conference. Don't worry. We're not in a parent-teacher conference. But here's the question. What do you wish that Black parents would do more of with our children that, so that they can come to you and succeed and thrive.
One of the things I want all parents to do, Black, Latino, whatever, is to read with their young people. That art is missing. You tell your child to go read a book. I told you to go do your homework. No, you sit down. You find out what that child's interests are or things that you want that child to know. You spend some time with your child. I promise you, your child will come to my classroom differently. If you just tell that kid, I told you to do your homework, I told you what to do, that doesn't help nearly as much as you spending 5 minutes reading something. What do you think about that? Having that connection. It makes the world of difference.
Reading with your child, meaning reading it together.
Reading it together.
Of course, teenagers are not big on doing hardly anything with their parents. But I guess you're talking about when they're younger.
Yes.
Yeah. I know for sure that my child one of the reasons my child likes to read and probably not as much likes to do his homework is because I would say, go do your homework. But he would always see me reading.
See you reading.
Mm-hmm. That's because I'm reading for work. I'm reading for fun. I'm reading.
The same thing for me. My dad was reading all the time. My dad was reading the newspaper every day, and so I still get the LA Times.
Right.
I began to read because I saw my dad read. My son, who was deaf and learning disabled, saw me read. He was always trying to read because he saw Daddy read.
Right.
It's about seeing. That's important. Put that in front of him.
I think that's right because I'm still going. Well, no. He graduated from high school. Reflexively, I'm like, do your homework. Doesn't work. Yeah. But I'm like yellow highlighting books and, reading articles and looking up a thing. And so that's part of the culture of our home.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that is, it's a whole other show too. But when we talk about achievement gaps, my theory is more reading, less TV.
Definitely. Because, first of all, as you know, you've done radio for many years. You've done so much. You can't put everything in a show. You can't put everything in a broadcast. We're talking now. There are things you wish you could include we can't get.
Right.
But in the reading, there's so many ways of explaining things and exposing young people to things and old people to things that are in the books. And so it's important. There's a book here, The Invisibles, The Untold Story of African American Slaves in the White House. Mm-hmm. And it goes into detail.
I haven't read that. Okay, see,
with George Washington, James Madison is talking about their slaves, their body men, their body servants, and how deep that was. I mean, I never heard about that 10 out of 12 of the first presidents were slave owners. Only John Adams and John Quincy Adams refused to have slaves. It's important to get into history, get into it deeply, and it changes lives.
Okay, so that's Dr. Singleton's reading assignment. Do your homework, KBLA delegation. The Invisibles. We're going to get it. We're going to read it. And I will read it, too, because that sounds fascinating.
Just quickly, how many schools are now doing the AP?
So now it started with 62, and now there are over 700, and next year,
AP African American Studies.
AP African American Studies will now be in any school that wants it. So the first year AP African American Studies was only in 62 schools
across the nation, right?
Across the nation. And Dorsey High was the first public high school in California to do it.
Okay.
And so now anybody can do it.
Got to leave it there. We'll talk about it some more soon. Tavis Smiley is up next. Till tomorrow, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network in California.